Hi, and welcome to Empowered Marketing by Professor Hines. This podcast is devoted to beginning marketers and owners of small businesses. We're here to help you learn social media marketing. Each episode presents important elements in social media marketing that you can use in your campaigns to generate better results, especially more business. Empowered Marketing is exclusively sponsored by A-Cubed Marketing Services in Orange County, California. A-Cubed Marketing Services serves small and mid-sized businesses in the areas of strategic marketing consultation, social media marketing using all forms of social media, campaign creation and management in both paid and owned media, pay-per-click campaigns, search engine optimization, graphic design, and videography. A-Cubed Marketing is owned and managed by me, Professor Joe Hines. My experience includes over 20 years of Fortune 100 corporation marketing management, as well as 10 years of academic work as professor at California State University Fullerton, Concordia University, Biola University, Cal Baptist University, and Fullerton College. You can find out more about A-Cubed Marketing Services. Use the link on the homepage of this podcast or call A-Cubed Marketing at 714-872-0561. Hello friends, this is episode 18 in the Empowered Marketing podcast series. We're in the thick of season 1 where our focus continues to be helping you learn or improve your social media marketing and content marketing skills. This week, we're continuing our latest topic, social publishing. We're looking at 3 types of content: editorial, commercial, and user-generated content. And in this episode today, we'll cover the types of content that gets published in channels within this zone, what kinds of social media users are included in the social publishing zone, which marketing objectives are marketers focused on within the social publishing zone, and how do priorities vary between B2B and B2C marketers. Why content creation in this zone is so important from a marketing perspective. Content marketing, what is it? And how is it related to social media marketing? Joe Pulizzi on content pillars. Actually, this was content originally presented by Mr. Pulizzi for the American Marketing Association. Benefits your product, brand, or company can enjoy from developing a robust program within this zone. Authentic content. What is it and why is it so important? Content value ladders. What is a content value ladder? And how does understanding it improve your tactical selection and your overall social media success? The 2 approaches to content optimization, search engine optimization and social media optimization. And finally, what eye tracking studies have taught digital marketers and why understanding this is critical to the effectiveness and the success of your e-commerce program. As in previous episodes, there's a PowerPoint presentation that you can download to accompany the episode. You can find it using the link wherever you found this podcast. Also, if you're enjoying the content, I also have a vlog called Professor Hines' Weekly Marketing Message, and it's available on my website at https://acubedmarketing.com/weekly-marketing-message/ as well as on YouTube and Vimeo. Finally, if you'd like to talk with me about how the information I presented here today can be put to work in the context of your business, you can schedule some free consultation time with me through Calendly. Go to https://calendly.com/a-cubed_marketing/introductory-consultation. Schedule some time with me. I'd love to hear from you. So let's head over to my classroom at Whittier College. I've got loads of great stuff prepared for you today. So we're into chapter 7, social publishing. We started here, right? Social community. We've just finished that tonight. We're over here now, social publishing. It's all about creating content, mostly user-generated content, meaning people who use the social publishing zone are people that have ideas to share, art to share, photography, music, whatever, okay? And they're frequently or maybe infrequently, but they're publishing, okay? Right there. So, what is social publishing? It's the production and the issuance of content for distribution via social media channels. And it would include blogs, media sharing sites like SmugMug, or social network sites. I create content all the time. I create videos in my podcast, and I distribute it partially via my social media pages. Social bookmarking is another opportunity to do that, and of course, the social news sites. What is content? Content is a unit of value in the social community. We're exchanging content with each other. So when people go to SmugMug or Picasa or you name it, where they're looking, or YouTube, Vimeo, whatever, people are posting their stuff and sharing it. They're sharing it to share with each other. So that's that unit of value or exchange in the social community. Blogs are really websites that people regularly update with new articles, new content. In fact, are you familiar with WordPress at all? Yeah. So WordPress, we think of as a site or a platform we build websites on, but if you look at WordPress itself, there's a .com version of WordPress and a .org version of WordPress. And the .org version is really mostly for people who want to create blogs and manage those blogs. And then you've got media sharing sites, as I mentioned, Vimeo, YouTube, Flickr, Instagram. Obviously, I don't know how I left them out. They're huge. They're the biggest one. And SlideShare. And SlideShare is a channel or a network that's owned by LinkedIn. And people in business and multiple industries, when they have presentations and they think the presentations are worth sharing, will take their Prezi or their PowerPoint files and upload them to SlideShare. All right. Well, who writes blogs or who does social publishing? You and me, regular folks, professionals. If you own a business, it's a great idea to write a blog, because in your blog, what you should be doing is explaining to your customers how they can solve certain kinds of problems, the kinds of problems that your business is all about solving. Well, the question would be, well, if that's what my business is about, then why would I want to write a blog showing them how to do it? And the answer is because it's such a hassle and a pain in the ass to do it yourself, but you've shown your own credibility and capability and knowledge in the area that the chances are people are just going to call you rather than doing it on their own. Okay? So let's say that you're a bricklayer. Well, you might, write a blog about how to create a nice, brick patio. Well, who wants to actually do that? I mean, that's hours and hours of backbreak, right? But if you just wrote a blog about it, I figure you know how to do it. I'll call you. Organizations do this. So nonprofits will write blogs about maybe their case studies, about recent things that their nonprofit organization has done. I used to be involved in a thing called Stand Up for Kids. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but in Orange County, there's something like 30,000 homeless teenagers. They couch surf, they sleep in parking structures, whatever. And Stand Up for Kids is all about helping them make it on their own, helping them get their driver's licenses, helping them finish school, giving them backpacks full of hygiene and food and whatever to help tie them over, help them get through. So it's a pretty cool thing. So they've got a blog of their own where they talk about some of the kids that they're helping and so on and so forth. Brands, okay? Brands will write a blog, and media companies write blogs. An advertising agency will write a blog, for instance, about case studies for recent clients that they've helped, that sort of thing. Now, when we start talking about creating this different kinds of content, we're moving slightly away from social media marketing into a broader field called content marketing, of which social media is just one thing. It's one part. So think of it like a grapevine, okay? Here's the vine. Right? Here are my grapes. And this could be my social media grape. This could be my blog. This could be my website. This could be my Facebook page. This could be my digital newsletter. This could be my podcast. This could be my vlog. It's not all just social media, but it is all digital. And the overall intent or goal is exactly what we've been talking about all semester. Only we're providing people a much broader canvas or many more opportunities to come in contact with our brand. Do you guys ever go down to like Newport Pier or Huntington Pier and see the guys fishing off of the pier? You know the guys that have 1, 2, 3, 4 poles there? They're all the one guy's pole, and maybe these poles have multiple hooks off of each pole. That's what this is. More opportunities to catch fish, okay? So the guy who's really the expert, or even really the founder of this whole approach, is a dude named Joe Pulizzi. And he has an organization called the Content Marketing Institute. And the book that he's written that's gotten him all sorts of notice and recognition is this book called Epic Content Marketing. I read the book. It's a great book. If you guys are really interested in this thing, I would definitely check it out. Okay, this guy is like a thought leader. He's a major mover and shaker in this whole field of digital marketing. Okay? So the goals of content marketing are, one, to create and distribute valuable, meaning it answers specific needs, it solves certain problems, it provides people the information that they need, right, and that they want. Relevant, it does all of those things, and consistent content. This is why consistency is so important. You want your blog to be the regular go-to thing that people are looking forward to reading weekly or however often you publish, because it's relevant to what they do and the things that they experience. Well, if you're trying to train people to regularly check your stuff out, continuity and consistency and regularity are very important. Because if all of a sudden one day I go and I start searching for Joe's information here, hey, it's usually out on Tuesday, but Joe missed Tuesday, and he's having a busy week, he doesn't get it till Friday. Well, okay, maybe 1 week I can understand that. But if I start publishing on Mondays or Fridays or Thursdays or whenever I can get it done, the people who had gotten into a regular cycle with me, man, they're so confused anymore, a lot of them just give up. Okay? So we don't want them to give up because we're trying to create a two-way street and a true relationship. I want them relying on me and my content because that's the way that I gradually open the door to conduct a business relationship. And I'm not doing this just because it's fun and I have nothing better to do, right? Okay, so there's that, consistency. We want to attract and we want to retain a clearly defined audience. Let's say that I'm an OBGYN doctor. Well, who are my patients going to be? Women. So I know that when I publish things on my blog, it has to have to do with women's reproductive issues or something, right? Or women's health, minimally. I have to always keep in mind what was the two-word phrase we've talked about many times now? The buyer persona. I'm always addressing this icon or the avatar in my mind about who is my customer. And then 3, I want to drive profitable customer action. Before, we always understand that ultimately what we're really looking for is sales, right? I mean, that's the ultimate goal here. But there can be like a pyramid here, okay? This is awareness. And then this next thing here is going to be, research and evaluation. And this is going to be the decision that's made in my favor. And this is ultimately going to be brand loyalty and advocacy, meaning people that are speaking out on behalf of the brand. Okay? Now, I've got all of these different types of ways of sharing content out there, but not all of them are meant and equally effective for each stage here. If I'm plugging in on awareness, one tactic that I could use would be Facebook. That's a great way to just get out there with a simple short post that says, hey, if your tires are bald, don't forget about Uniroyal. That's just simple awareness, right? So I've caught them here. The next thing that we do, of course, is the customer's going to move into research and evaluation. But a simple post that says, don't forget about Uniroyal, is not going to meet the needs of the consumer when they get to this next stage. At this stage, what kinds of information are they looking for, you guys? If you were in that boat, what would you want, in terms of your own process? Yeah, in research and evaluation. If that was you, do you want a short post that just says, remember Uniroyal? No, what do you want? So what would be in it? If you worked for Uniroyal and you're the marketing manager, what kinds of content are you going to create for that second level? What's going to go in it? What are you putting out there? What are you sharing? Okay, that's good. Yeah, benefits is one, right? Features about the brand. And when it comes to evaluation, now what am I doing? I'm comparing across brands. So what kind of information do I need to provide at that point?
Comparison to competing brands.
Sure.
And advantages over them.
Yes. Now when I get to the decision, what kinds of stuff might tell that story? How about a case study? Would that be a good way to do it? Yes. Yeah, it would be a great way to do it, right? Or, and I can show this case study in lots of different ways. Depending on the kind of product that I have, I want to marry the media up to the product. So if I have a product that is highly visual, meaning I really need to see it to really understand your pitch, I'm going to want lots of photographs, I'm going to want video, right? If social influence, meaning how do other people make the decision, then another process could be testimonials, right? So you have to think about what kind of a product do I have, and how can I provide or serve up the best sort of content that meets the needs, the information needs of a consumer as they go through that consumer journey. Right? Okay. So then if it comes to advocacy, what kinds of media are great for advocacy? What site are you aware of that a lot of people go to post their opinions about a company or a brand? Yelp. Okay, so that's where Yelp becomes important. I can also share that information on my website, on a testimonials page. That's another approach. But you notice that there's a whole bunch of different kinds of content. And each of them have relative strengths depending on the time in which I'm using it and matching it up to where the consumers are going at that moment in time. So another thing that I want to encourage you guys to do is to think about people in awareness. This is one segment. It's a way of market segmentation. When we talk about market segmentation, the way that we penetrate each market is we come up with a unique marketing plan for the segment. So Facebook could be the really important marketing promotions mix of my marketing plan to reach those people. But it's going to shift later as I'm talking to different people here. People in this stage and research and evaluation, people in the decision mode, people in the brand loyalty and advocacy mode. They're all segments. Okay. So I want to drive profitable customer action. And it's profitable when I know that I'm migrating customers from one level to the next, because I know that as I'm moving them, I'm getting closer to making that sale. And I want to do it on as cost-effective a basis as I can. All right, so there's different types, right? I've just mentioned blog posts and articles and micro and white papers, and I want to show you a couple examples. So here's an example of a blog post. Now this comes off of my website, okay? So 5 reasons you should have a content marketing program. And so here I'm talking to business owners about the benefits of having a content marketing program and why they should want to do it. Well, at the end of the thing, I'm obviously going to come back and say, hey, my business is all about doing this. If you really want help and you're not sure you can handle it on my own, be happy to talk to you. There should be some sort of a call to action in anything that you do, because of course we're looking for profitable conversions, right? So the kinds of things that we talked about here would be, look, when you write a blog, you have thought leadership. It's a more subtle form of marketing. You're using influence marketing behind your strategy. You're improving brand loyalty, and it supports the selling effort. Those are like the big 5 that I talked about in this particular blog, which are all needs and interests that most business owners are going to have. Then you got feature articles. You might be a guest blogger on somebody else's site. Or I've actually been asked in the past to write some editorial that went into a local community paper about about a client of mine and their pizza restaurants. That's more of a feature article. White papers are another approach. Can I get there? This is a paper that I wrote for a client of mine called Proactive Packaging and Display. And they make packaging for companies that sell in grocery stores, and they make the big stand-up displays that you see in the stores and that sort of stuff. So we wrote, a couple of pieces for them, packaging that sells a whole, PowerPoint deck, and this other thing called the New Retail Math. So it's a white paper that basically describes in these 3 areas how companies should go about managing their packaging, managing their in-store presence, okay? And the way that we made it available was, if you're a customer going to their website and you think that this information might be useful, we wanted people to drop their email address in a little form on the home page, and then this document was going to be automatically emailed to their email address. Well, the benefit to the brand or the company was that now I have many more contact points. I know not only who's visiting my site, but I can communicate back to them saying, hey, we sent you this thing, and are you ready to talk about a project yet? And so on and so forth, okay? So that's the benefit of a white paper. Newsletters, here's an example of a newsletter. This was for a client of ours. This is actually my cousin's company in Austin, Texas. Here he is. And he has the largest pool and spa maintenance company in the entire state of Texas. So we do a lot of their marketing for them, and they have a newsletter called A Dash of Splash. And it talks to people about how to take care of their swimming pools, okay? Pool renovation basics and, all sorts of things, right? So it's just a way and they call these things drip campaigns. Have you guys ever heard that term before, drip campaign? A drip campaign it's ways that we take prospects and nurture them over time until they become customers. Because if I read this newsletter today, I may or I may not need your services, Andy. But over time, if I continue to get pitched by you or you share useful, relevant information with me, I'm going to be gaining trust in you because you are consistent in providing me really useful information that helps me solve problems. And when the time is right and my current pool guy fails me, I've already got you in mind, and now I'm ready to call you to come in and replace my old pool guy. So it's a drip, because it's drip, 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 until finally you convert the customer. So another client that I do work with is, you guys know who ServPro is? ServPro is a company where if your home has had water or fire damage, they go into the home or a business location and they restore things the way they used to be before the shit hit the fan. Okay? So this is a case study because we're talking about a specific event that happened with one of their customers and the way that ServPro went about addressing the needs of the customer and how they made things right. So it's a case study. Okay?
What was the case study?
Well, in this case here, it's, that's it. Just a few paragraphs. So I think I've shared with you this before, I actually do a series of videos like twice a month where I post these out to Vimeo and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and so forth, talking about, business needs of small businesses and how they can improve their marketing. So here's an example.
Hines, and this is my weekly marketing message. I am a 30-year veteran of industry, have been a marketing consultant and a professor of marketing for Cal State Fullerton College, and Whittier College. Today, I'd like to talk with you about the buyer persona.
Okay, you guys know all about that. All right, so, and that's just the way, again, of establishing thought leadership and credibility and expertise and things so that when the right people, experience and receive this information, they're going to think, okay, maybe the time is not right immediately, but here's another guy that I might be able to turn to down the road who might actually help me address my needs, right? So again, that's another form of a drip campaign because you can achieve these things in different ways. Then, of course, there's a podcast. We know what podcasts are like. But anyway, so there's podcasts. They're great ways to get your information out again. And again, this is the same idea, thought leadership, expertise, credibility, helping people, because certainly, this course, the podcast that I have is Learn Social Media. Well, to any business person who hasn't really understood how to do it before, this is a big benefit, right? Especially if he gets the content for nothing. And so eventually, this should generate also more business for us. Okay. Grapevine, moving them through the pyramid, through all of these different options. So we can evaluate content for social publication. Look, we've got blogs, articles, infographics, videos, podcasts, case studies, all kinds of things, right? Is maybe just focusing on the benefits here. So for instance, the benefits for a blog are search rankings. We'll talk more in a few minutes about SEO, okay? But realize that any blog that you write is going to be chock full of keywords. You guys know what keywords are? It's the terms that people search with to find pages on the web that meet needs for information that they have. So it's full of, so it's great for your search rankings. It creates thought leadership. It builds community. And what I mean by community is it puts people around your node. If you're a business and you're publishing and they're checking out your presence online, your page, whatever it is, you've built a community, okay? And then finally, you can even offer people subscriptions. Like I've offered with the video, if you'd like, I'll email this directly to your inbox so that you don't have to be wondering where's the next one out. Benefits for articles, again, it's search rankings and thought leadership. Benefits for infographics. Are we familiar with what infographics are? Okay, so they're like drawings or illustrations that have statistics built into them and it kind of tells a story. All right, so great potential to be shared because they're really interesting and useful. They communicate information in a small amount of time. Then, if we look at videos, high engagement. Video will attract more people than any other form of content. It'll definitely stop people. So again, thinking about from the perspective of like your campaigns, think about video. And conversion, meaning if I personally, in personal sales, when I'm out there, I love to be able to sit down at a table with a prospect because I feel like if I can create a personal connection, I got a much better chance of winning that account. Well, if I'm kind of shooting it out to the universe, obviously I can't sit down with everybody, so that video is at least closer to me sitting down, right? Podcasts are also very similar. They're going to appeal to mobile users. When do we listen to podcasts? When we're in the car, right? Do you guys have the podcast app on your phone and do you listen to it? Are there podcasts you guys listen to? What do you guys like to listen to?
How I Built This on NPR.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, you guys? Yeah.
Mine's not educational. I just listen to a medieval podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Storytelling kind of a thing? Oh, that's fun. That's entertaining, isn't it? Yeah. There's one that I like that's like that with Remy Malek, actually. Yeah, it's very cool. It's a sci-fi, or like a dystopian future kind of a thing. I think it's called Blackout, actually, and it's very good. And then finally, case studies are credibility boosters, meaning, hey, look, here's some real occasions where, this guy's company went out, like ServPro. Here's a situation when ServPro, came into a difficult situation with a client. Here are the steps that they took to fix it. Here are comments that the client made at the end of the service, and it was a successful event. And we've actually converted a lot of business because of the case studies that we've written for them. All right. A few weeks ago, we talked about authenticity. Do you remember that term? Authenticity? Okay, what is authenticity? How do we generate? Please.
Is it just like originality and like being different, basically? Or like how something separates itself from something else by being original? Yeah.
So the way that it separates, so the separation piece is important. It's really mostly about the believability. Now, if you're seeing a series of positive comments from customers, and there's never a single one that shows that there was any flaw, any mistake, any error made, do you get to feel like maybe this is a stacked deck? Like this is too good to be true? When that happens, we've broken the authenticity. It doesn't feel real anymore. So in order to have it feel real to prospects, we have to be willing to show our flaws. Now, you don't want to show all your flaws all the time, obviously, because you're still trying to sell, but your campaign has to be believable. Because everybody has shit that doesn't smell good, right? And you might as well be upfront about it. Okay? So, we've got editorial, and we've got commercial, and we've got consumer-generated content. Well, the editorial is objective and unbiased. Editorial comes in the form of a newspaper or a magazine or some other media form carried a story that contained information about the politician we're trying to elect, the product we're trying to sell, whatever. But it's perceived by the viewers as third party. And since it's third party, it's more trusted because it's believed that there's no vested interest or no hidden agenda, okay? Even though there is, because the stuff is put together by the public relations team in the company. Sometimes they'll actually create the entire piece and hand it off to the media company who just turns around and shows it. Sometimes, but the rest of the world doesn't know that, okay? Now you can have commercial. In this case, this is paid content like we talked about earlier tonight. This is where the advertisement makes it clear that the intent is to persuade the reader or viewer to change an attitude or behavior. So whenever you've got any branded spot, we know that it's that exactly that they're trying to achieve. So again, this is paid media. And then finally, we talked about this already, consumer generated. This is organic content, meaning it wasn't paid for. It's incentivized, meaning maybe maybe there's a contest like the Doritos thing that we looked at. Could be consumer solicited content, meaning there is no contest, but they just thought it was a fun idea, and so they created it and they pitched it to the brand on the brand's page. It could also be sponsored content, meaning that for instance, with Doritos, that's an example of sponsored content. The brand said, we would like people to generate content like this. Here's the game rules. We're going to pay somebody for the best submission. There's a sponsor behind it. It's the brand. It's sponsored content. Okay. Now, frequently used tactics for this would be contests, free merchandise, cash. Consumers are invited to contribute, but they're not paid, or they're paid consumer content. So sometimes it can be one of all three of these things. I want to show you guys the top 10 marketing objectives, meaning why do marketers bother with content at all, and what are the top 10 reasons for it? Well, the number one reason is brand awareness, okay? 79% of business-to-business marketers who were polled listed brand awareness. And 74% of marketers who are doing business to consumer mentioned it. So it's the top. Followed by engagement, 71 and 71% respectively. Lead generation, again 80% on B2B and 66% on B2C. Why do you suppose there's that big difference between B2B and B2C with lead gen? Well, it has to do with the nature of the selling process. Usually with business to consumer, the company does not make a direct sales approach to the consumer. They're either going to go to your e-commerce page or the retail store and buy the product or not, but the only communication that's happening between the company and the consumer is via media. So we don't really need a lead, because a lead means the name, email address, phone number, address, all that stuff that is necessary for the company to make a personal contact. We don't do that in B2C, but we do it in B2B, okay? Customer retention or loyalty is the next piece, 56 and 63% respectively. Sales, obviously we're all trying to get sales activity going, 62 and 53%. Building an audience via subscription growth, 52 and 50%. Lead nurturing, that's the drip campaign thing, right? Drip, 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 little bit at a time. I'm slowly converting the customer. And then finally, an upsell or a cross-sell. Do you guys know those two terms, upsell and cross-sell? Yes? Okay, and how about a cross-sell?
An upsell is like, in a retail situation, if your consumer is buying one thing and you have another little thing on the side, you would upsell them by adding on the other thing and trying to get
good. A cross-sell is, let's say that you went to Amazon, okay, and Amazon records that you bought a tennis racket. What else would you need to play tennis? Yeah. A what?
Tennis ball.
Tennis balls. So what they're going to do is, when you put the tennis racket in your cart on Amazon, maybe what they do is they serve up an ad that says, hey, if you buy a box of Wilson tennis balls today, there's a 10% discount on it. So they're getting you to add another item to your cart because it's a related product that would make sense for you as a consumer to buy it. Okay? All right. Types of content in marketers' social publishing strategies. Well, we can look at social media content, and we've already done that tonight. Blogs, we've looked at. Email newsletters, we've talked about. Ebooks and white papers. White papers is an example like I showed you from Proactive Packaging, where we talked about how to score at the retail shelf with better packaging or better in-store display pieces or whatever, right? Pre-produced video, meaning this isn't user-generated content. This is professionally shot video that's being done to support the brand. So it's like a professional Doritos ad instead of a bunch of guys getting together shooting their own. Infographics is another example. Webinars. Are you familiar with what webinars are? Do you know that term?
Yes. It's when you have like a host and then they have like, it's like a Skype meeting and they do their presentation over the web.
Great. Okay. Online presentations. Okay, there's another, and that could be a video conference, for instance. That could be a Skype call. That could be a whole lot of things, right? Illustrations and photos. Where would we go to use illustrations and photos? What kinds of sites? Instagram, of course. It's the #1 site for that. And then even interactive tools. So last week, too, we talked about hero hub and hygiene content, right? We said that tonight we said that a great example of the hero content was the promotion that we saw with Dove was a great example. Not only Dove, but also the other brand. We saw the Santa Claus thing, right? Western Airlines, right? West Airlines something? Okay. So hero content is when we stage this major event. It costs a fortune to do it, but it's all about getting a lot of consumers to pick that story up and share it on their networks. Well, another term for that would be a flagship type of an event. So what I'm showing you here is that the different kinds of content that we can create has varying value to it. Like if I have filler content, and filler content is all about generating or using other people's posts, other people's images, like links to articles or links to blogs that sort of talk about my company or my industry or my brand, but I didn't create it. It was just out there and I shared it. That's an example of filler content. Really low value, okay? But it's all right. Now, the next rung up here is basic. Now, this is when I start moving into original content. So here we go. It's, this is the curated content, we also call that, okay? Now, basic is the first time we're using original content, I can get into authority building that positions the sponsoring entity as an authority on the subject in question. So when I write a blog, or when I, create a podcast or something, that's authority building content. Pillar is if the source creates a really solid foundation of original content. So for instance, Joe Pulizzi that we talked about a few minutes ago, and his institute, the Content Marketing Institute, Joe Pulizzi being the guy who founded that, has created both flagship and pillar content because it's all originally his concept. and he's generating a lot of new information about it, and he's able to hang his hat on that and say, look, if you want, my Content Marketing Institute is now a consulting company that goes out to work with the biggest brands in America to help them create new content on their own. Okay? So it's sort of like an ad for him, right? And that's why he's doing it. Flagship is seminal pieces of work that help to define a phenomena or shape the way people think about something for a long time. Which is also why this content marketing thing from Joe Pulizzi is both an example of pillar content, but also the whole foundation that he laid is really the flagship. Okay. Now, notice two other things about this chart. As I mentioned before, we're ranking content in terms of what has more or less value. And the farther down the ladder we go, the less valuable it is. But the higher up we go, the more important or the more valuable it is. The other thing is that once we start getting into basic content, from here forward, it's all original content. Meaning only that this bottom level here, this filler content, is something that we borrowed from elsewhere. Which is also why it's so low value, because it doesn't really say much about us. It was just something that might have filled in a day or two in a month's schedule. Okay. Well, I want to share a little bit from Joe Pulizzi directly with you guys on content pillars.
Keys to content marketing success. You're watching AMA TV, the marketing channel.
Are you familiar with the American Marketing Association, by the way?
Creating content and lots of
It's a really great organization for students and young professionals in marketing.
Content to fuel social.
It'd be really worth your while to check it out.
What's the critical difference between effective and not effective content marketers? There's two things. One is they have a documented content marketing strategy, and two is they follow it consistently. So the first element is sales, savings, or sunshine. Sales, savings, or sunshine. There's only three reasons. This is not internal communication. We're talking about external communication right now. And there's only three reasons to do content marketing. Is it growing my sales in some way? Is it saving me costs in some way over something I'm currently doing? Or the last thing is sunshine. Are we creating more loyal customers? Are we creating happier customers? Are we retaining our customers? Sales, savings, sunshine. Element two is, I want you to create a content marketing mission statement. Create that mission statement. Define the audience. Who's the target? The singular target, the singular persona, not more than one. Who's that target? What are you going to deliver? What is the content you're going to deliver? And then third, most importantly, what is the outcome? What is in it? What's the aha moment for the reader? Right? We know you've got to sell stuff, but we've got to focus on really being the leading informational expert for this particular niche that you're creating your content mission around. So element number three, this is more of a reminder than anything else. And hopefully if you are building your content ship on rented land, as they would say, or rented water, we've got a problem. We've got to change this. So let me talk a little bit about this. So let's just use an example. I've got Starbucks here. So if we look at Starbucks from a Facebook standpoint, they have 36 million or so people liking them that have fanned them on Facebook. And for those of us, we're all marketers, we know that in general, every time that they post something organically on Facebook, less than 5% of the people that like that page are going to see it. And that continues to go down and down and down. There are a very few exceptions. I've seen exceptions like Cleveland Clinic do some amazing job, and they're seeing well over sometimes 20, 30% organic, sometimes even more if it's really a home run. But for the most part, you've been spending all this time generating all these people that are liking you on Facebook, and they're never going to see any of your content. So, nothing wrong with Facebook, nothing wrong with Twitter. Facebook needs to make this decision because they're trying to be profitable. They're changing their algorithm. They're more than entitled to do that. The sad thing for me is the companies that have spent millions of dollars building an audience on Facebook that we don't control. Media companies would never do this. We would always focus on what we can control first and use this as a secondary distribution point.
For more insights, visit ama.org/content marketing.
You guys, if you're thinking about a career in marketing, the AMA is a great association to plug in with. It's a great way to network for a future job. It's a great way to learn more about your career path and options in it. It's a great way to find out about maybe who's hiring, who needs people. They've got guest speakers at their events nearly every month. So it's definitely worth checking out and participating in. And obviously they're producing great content too. This podcast, Empowered Marketing by Professor Hines, is exclusively sponsored by A-Cubed Marketing Services in Orange County, California. In business since 2013, A-Cubed Marketing offers a complete suite of internet marketing services, including strategic marketing consultation, social media marketing using all forms of social media, campaign creation and management in both paid and owned media, pay-per-click campaigns, search engine optimization, graphic design, and videography. A-Cubed Marketing is owned and managed by Professor Joe Hines. His experience includes over 20 years of Fortune 100 corporate marketing management, as well as 10 years of academic work as professor at California State University Fullerton, Concordia, Biola, Cal Baptist University, and Fullerton College. Find out more about A-Cubed Marketing Services. Use the link on the homepage of this podcast or call A-Cubed Marketing at 714-872-0561.
It's a sense of friendliness.